What's up, everyone? Welcome to Dogs Down South. It is Wednesday night. Another version of Dogs Down South, episode 2. We're going to be talking all things Jim Harbaugh. We're going to talk about depth charts coming into spring. We're going to be talking about a little bit of everything. We're even going to talk about a little TikTok hate mail. As you know, we went live. We were not live yet. There is a Dogs Down South TikTok account where we're looking to have 1,000 followers so we can go live on there. Dogs Down South is now on all platforms. Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify, Amazon Music. Can't even name them all, man. Samsung Podcasts, if you use Samsung Podcasts. So make sure to go follow, drop a like on YouTube, Instagram. We're on everything, man. So you should be able to find us. But anyways, I'm going to bring in some people that are much smarter than me that we're going to talk some Georgia football tonight. Let me bring them in right here. Boom. There they are. What's up, Fish? What's up, Bobby? How you guys doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. It is, the weather down here is completely different than last time we came on. In Florida, It's now 80, and it was 40 last time we talked. What's the temperature there in Georgia?
It's about 63 right now. It got up in the 70s today.
What you got, Bobby? What's the temp there?
Man, I don't know. I know this past weekend it was freezing. It is. I'll tell you. Let me look on the phone.
Yep, now I'm wearing.
What we do without phones, right? Like,
dude,
66.
66, man. So we got to 80 today. I don't know if we're at 66, but who knows? But man, good to be with you guys. Good to have you guys back tonight. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but if you look over my left shoulder right here, maybe you're right, depending on how you're viewing it. I got my man, Mr. Jim Harbaugh. Breaking news: Jim Harbaugh is now the new head coach for the Los Angeles Chargers. Wow. Some people said kind of saw this coming. Me personally, I was kind of in doubt. They offered him 6 years, $11.5 million. Obviously, we know there's a scandal going on. There could still be more investigating going on, all things like that. So at the end of the day, we'll go to you, Fish, first. What do you think about this hire for the Chargers and Harbaugh catching a plane out of Ann Arbor?
No, I don't think you had to be a fortune teller to see this coming. I think everybody pretty much knew this was about to happen with all the, allegations and stuff going on right now, behind the scenes at Michigan. I think he knew something heavier sanctions possibly were going to come down. So I think he bolted at the first chance he had. Plus, he's going out on top too. So, that made it that much easier, for him to probably make the decision. His brother's in the NFL, so that's where he wanted to be anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. What do you think, Bobby? What's your take on Mr. Harbaugh?
Man, every year is he going to go? Is he going to go? And now he's finally gone. And, the thing I'm interested in is to see the fallout, right? Like, the portal window for those guys is going to open back up for Michigan. And we saw what happened at Bama. You may get something very similar. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Could be another mass exodus.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get 30 more days of portal. We thought the portal was asleep, and then Harbaugh was like, "Let me wake it back up." Obviously,
wake it back up.
Wake up. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's just like ridiculous. So here's the thing: not many, any idea right now of what the contract looks like. I've heard that Jesse Minter is going to be a possible part of this as defensive coordinator at Michigan. Who knows? Sharon Moore, did a great job for him at offensive coordinator, ran the team while he was runner. Yeah, he's probably the front runner. I've heard some names out there. Brian Kelly. Is it Leopold? Or I don't know, is the guy from Kansas. His name's definitely in there too. But you got to think Sharon Moore gets a shot at it, right? Because of what he did.
I think they definitely want to stay in house. Probably, help probably keep some players from leaving.
Right. That's your best shot at not having the wagon unload is to have an inside guy there that's got relationships that can hopefully pull them in, right? Like
been involved in the recruiting process and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no guy out there right now, right, that I think of that I think of who would be willing to go to Michigan to take that job that is going to keep that team together.
Yeah.
This is eerily similar to what we talked about last week when we were like, who wants to follow Nick Saban? Now, who wants to follow Jim Harbaugh? I think for different reasons. Obviously, I don't. Part of this is Harbaugh leaving on his own terms because of troubled waters, but part of it is we've always thought that Harbaugh wanted to be back in the NFL, but he
He's an
wanted
NFL guy.
and try to win a national championship. Uh,
Yeah.
Quick, let's shoot over. Jacob Stroud, welcome, man. How many do you think will leave Michigan? I'll let you guys stab at that first. What do we Fish? What do you think about exodus from Michigan? You think guys will leave?
Yeah, a few people, that wanted to play for Harbaugh, just like at Alabama, people wanted to play for Saban. It doesn't matter who you bring in, people are going to want to play for a certain guy. And if that certain guy's not there, then yeah, they're going to leave. So it depends on how many people, were that loyal to him, that liked him that much, that wanted to play for him that bad.
Yeah. Bobby, what you think, man?
Right. Yeah. I would think if you keep an inside guy, like if you keep more on staff, you're going to bleed a lot less.
Yeah.
If you bring in another guy, you're going to be in issues. And like you said, we think about who wants to come and step in that place, and not because Harbaugh's on any level close to Saban, but like taking that job could be like pinch hitting for someone with 2 strikes on you already. Like they get injured, there's 2 strikes, and somebody's got to step in the batter's box, right? With all these sanctions that could potentially come, I don't really see how there won't be something. But what coach wants to step in that and have their hands tied because they lose scholarships or what have you?
Nobody that's been a head coach before, probably.
Right. Nobody wants those headaches. Like nobody that's been there before, right?
Yeah.
Money can outweigh some of that, right? For some guys. But I don't know, man. I would think that if you keep more, right, and the staff doesn't turn over a whole lot with him, depends on how many people Harbaugh take with him. But if the staff doesn't turn over, if they can keep staff turnover at a minimum, I think you're going to lose some, but not nearly the amount you will if you bring an outsider into the program.
Yeah,
makes sense. It's kind of like it's like with Saban, it was like it's Nick Saban, right? It's the winningest. Oh well, I'll go winningest. He'll go down in the history of college football coaches for several different reasons, but that's more of a legacy type thing, right? I think it's more with Harbaugh. It's like Harbaugh's more like who wants to follow. Are you walking into is the interview process like this? Can you tell me what this mess looks like before I say yes? And so that was obviously that we know of. Alabama's, I would suspect with Nick Saban, runs a very clean program. Haven't heard a lot of anything, if anything, from Alabama other than goof up recruiting things that happen any day where, a recruiter does something stupid because he doesn't know it's can't be done or things of that nature, but nothing big, But this is more like this is sign stealing. This is something that's out of left field, and you go, there's just a tarnish on Michigan that's going to sit there for a little while. I mean, I'll
definitely
give you an example.
Asterisk by their national championship.
Right. So, I don't know, man. I would have thought that depending on how everything landed, some of these schools might come out and be like UCF and be like, we're claiming national championship because of sign stealing. If Ohio State would have, they got beat by Michigan, but they probably would claim they got beat by Missouri in the Cotton Bowl, so they can't really say anything. So I don't think you can go on that route, but we got to agree that there's tarnish there. The biggest thing is right now is Michigan now goes through what possibly Alabama just went through, which is, mass exodus in some key positions. You already are going to lose a lot. That's another thing that Harbaugh looked at. He's losing a lot this year. The majority of the team that won that national championship was veteran players that are going to move on to the NFL. He's losing a lot of the defensive line. He's getting a little bit of there's more core of defense coming back than there is offense. But I would say it was a good time to go because he knows, I think next year it's perfect time for him. I hate to say it. It's perfect timing. I thought it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. You're coming in, you're adding all these teams to the Big Ten. I don't even know if you can call it the Big Ten anymore, the Big 20. But you got the Big 20. You're losing a lot of players. Is this the year you lose to Ohio State? Who knows? There's just a lot that can fall on his back on top of it's going to continue for the next 2, 3, 4 years to hear sign stealing. So it was time to kind of just get the monkey off his back.
And who did you hear anything about Michigan picking up anybody in the portal? And
No,
that could have been like a dead giveaway right there. Like they weren't going after people. Like who did they get? Like we didn't hear anything about them
yeah,
unless I missed something.
they kept it pretty quiet, man. He was also recruiting yesterday. He was out recruiting a lot of people on a lot of comments on Dogs Down South on TikTok. People saying they see him. A lot of Michigan fans, man. You hashtag Michigan football on TikTok, bro. They come out the snow at you, and they're like, "We saw him out. We saw him out. You know, he was recruiting yesterday. You know." And I'm like, "Okay, sorry, didn't know that." But he obviously was business as usual.
Yeah.
Maybe for the sake of the university. So, Bobby, I think you're on the edge. You want to say something? You got something?
Man. Like, so here's the thing: is this the new norm for college football? And why I'm asking is, I think outside of somebody who's a guy like Kirby, who's tied to UGA, right? He's got deep roots there. Like
Right.
outside of that, like, is it easier for a coach to now leave and go to the NFL? Because not only do they have to recruit, they have to re-recruit the players on their team so that they don't hit the portal. They got to
Right.
shop the portal. They got to manage NIL stuff, right? So you're looking at a ton of responsibility on the shoulders of a program, and you're the man at the top of that. And now, instead of now, like you used to, you just and I think this has a lot to do with why Saban left. Used to be,
Right.
you could go out, you recruit, that was all you really had to worry about. But now you got to
Right.
worry about keep the attrition of your team, right? Keeping the guys on the team. You got to worry about, hey, NIL. And then, like, I mean, there's just a lot. Is this going to become the new norm for college
Right.
football coaches
Right.
who can go to the NFL, have half the responsibility for the same pay?
Right. And add this to it. Is it going to be a spot where you just you look at the high school ranks? I love high school football. I do, because I think it's once the portal started hitting, and once I don't know, sideways recruiting hit 10 years ago in the Reggie Bush era and all that stuff. There was a lot of stuff going on at USC. I don't care what I don't care what you say. But when all that was going on, you look at the high school ranks and you look at coaches who still want to develop young men into not only great athletes, but great men, right? And so you thought of the college ranks, it was an extension of that. That's why that's why coaches coached on this level, things of that nature. But you're right. This has turned in more to a JV style NFL. And so are these coaches, that look at this and go, what I loved about college football and the pageantry, the camaraderie, and things of that nature, has it lost that swag? And am I more interested in? I mean, heck, think about it, guys. I can go right now and make good money in the NFL, and I can go be an offensive coordinator. I don't have to recruit. I don't have to. Man, I go to practice. I go home, and when I'm home, I'm good, because there's guys out there that do things about payroll, and there's guys out there that do things about trade rumors, and and what's this and what's this, and there's just so many people that are intact to do all that stuff. Whereas it looks like in the college football world, it's more of, when I leave practice, I go home and I continue working. When I leave, when I go to sleep, I wake up and I'm checking my. It's like, how do you have a life? And then when it's off season, it's portal. When it's off season, it's weight training and conditioning, and keeping people happy, just keeping your players happy. Dude, you go back, Fish, when you used to take me to football games, and I used to look and go, my dream would be to go to the University of Georgia and play for the University of Georgia if I was talented enough. Yep. But that right there would fire me up about going and winning for Georgia. Mm-hmm. I think, Bobby, that's the answer to the question. We're missing the pageantry. The coaches are getting a little bit drained as far as what they're working for and what they're getting from it. And then guess what, man? You win the national championship. This guy right here to my left, he won the national championship, and the next day he was having to make sure that nobody was unhappy and ready to jump ship. So it's getting a little weird, man. I agree with you. Let's take a question really quick. Do you think they need to wait and do the transfer portal after the season is over? I mean, they do it after the season is over. It's kind of before they have to do it, I think, before early signing. All that's wishy-washy. You added early signing period, transfer portal, then you added all these rules with 30 days after a coach leaves. Jacob, just so you know, I think the kink in the system is lately has been you have an extra 60 days for these players that have left Alabama and Michigan now that makes this portal thing keep going. Like, I think it was done, but you know, when all this was going down, you know, I think it just felt like it drug out this year. What do you guys think? Fish, what do you think?
I don't know.
I don't like the portal, bro. I just don't even like the portal.
I think people can't you declare before the end of the season, like, but that doesn't open, like you can't go anywhere, or you can't be recruited or whatever, but until the end of the season, because I think I heard about a couple of people declaring for the portal before the season was over, like for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, 100%. That you can. Yeah. And here's the thing: a lot of those coaches keep it hush hush. I'll give you this example. When did Nick Saban retire? The day after we lost Fish. The day after the portal closed. Remember this? So it closes, and recruits get signed. Right, signing day's over, and Saban goes, "I'm out." He obviously he wasn't going to do it when you talk about mass exodus. He definitely had Alabama in mind, because if he would have said I'm retiring before signing, he would have lost portal players. Some of those guys that signed would have left. So it's a timing thing. It's even the same thing with Carson Beck, right? So Carson Beck waits and says I'm coming back to UGA after the National Signing Day thing goes on. I guarantee you, man, you want to talk about, I mean, it was already a weird quarterback thing going on with Puglisi. Puglisi was a guy that was a Georgia guy. You knew it. He reminds me of like a Fromm type guy. Like, he's a Georgia guy, right? That we know of now. It changes in the future. But Dylan Raiola, man, I mean, I'll give a little shout out here to Greg Dominy, man. Greg Dominy called me 2 times and he said, I don't like Dylan Raiola. He has never shown that he can stay at a school. He transferred from school to this. I don't think he's a dog, man. Like, I think he may be a dog, but he's not a dog. And I'll be dang, man, if that mug didn't jump ship. And I was like, Greg was right, man. So I just don't know, man. It's just not a lot of
It takes a certain kind of dude to be a college coach. And it also takes a certain kind of dude, a different kind of dude, to be an NFL coach. Because just because you're good in college doesn't mean you're going to go up to the NFL and dominate. Spurrier, Saban, 2 of the best college coaches ever to do it, went up there and had 0 success in the NFL. I mean, it's not for everybody, but I mean, a lot of people will use it as a springboard, to get a job in the NFL, come to college, look good, for a few years, and then a spot opens up, a team's desperate enough, they'll come get you. But just, not always, success in college doesn't always translate to the NFL.
Yeah. So really quick before we move on from Harbaugh, who do you think, Bobby, I'll give you first jab. Who do you think the next coach at Michigan is?
If I'm hiring, it's the guy that held on to the reins while he was gone. Moore.
Yeah. What do you think,
Ditto.
You think Moore?
I think that would be the best hire for them right now to prevent a lot of coaches and players from hopping on the train.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sherrone Moore did an incredible job to step in. I mean, he beat Ohio State, right? He beat Ohio State, man. I mean, what nod do you need, man? So here's the interview, right? Because this is part of the interview question, right? Hey, we want to beat Ohio State every year, right? So what does Sherrone Moore say? Well, just want you to know, as an interim coach this year, I beat Ohio State.
Already. Got that on his resume. Yep.
So I think I agree. I think this is a slam dunk right here. I don't think there'll be much time. I think that Harbaugh broke now. I think in the morning we'll all wake up to Sherrone Moore being the new quarterback. So let's switch gears. Obviously, since last time, too, big news out of Athens, and we'll shift over to the Michigan foe, Ohio State. Obviously, Georgia, I don't want to use the word loses Caleb Downs. The only reason I would say loses Caleb Downs is because Caleb Downs was 30 minutes to an hour from being a dog. Every single person I know, including you guys, and every news outlet said he's a dog, right? I think the NIL deal was worth about $587,600,000. And then all of a sudden, like a thief in the night, I mean, guys, the rumor was that the registrar and everything in the administration at Georgia already had his name going in to sign him up for classes. And then Ohio State swoops in and doubles it and gives him 1.1, 1.2 million. And then there he goes. And we're going to talk about depth charts soon, but what do you guys tell me about that? Because I will tell you, I thought Caleb Downs was a dog. Bobby, what's your take on Caleb Downs?
Man, here's the thing. Like, if I'm driving a Ferrari, do you really care what brand of tires I have on it? Right? Like, I mean, and the reason I say that is we're loaded. Like, he was a luxury piece, right? I mean, it was hey, if you get this guy, you're going to be outstanding. You know what you're getting. But like coming out of high school, I don't see much difference in the way that we looked at Caleb Downs as we do KJ Bolden. Right. Our defensive room, our secondary, those outside guys, those safeties, those corners, that room, those cupboards are not there.
Right.
Would it have been nice to get Caleb Downs? Absolutely. The dude is a stud, right? Like, he's a stud. And I'm not going to downplay that. Was it a miss? Yes, a miss. But at the end of it all, I don't think we're going to look back and say, man, if only we'd have had Caleb Downs, because I just don't think that's the position we're in.
Right. Fish, what you think, man?
Exactly what he said. I mean, you didn't necessarily have to have him. You know, it would have been nice, would have been great, but not necessary. You know, I mean, he's a good guy, and I'm not going to sit here and act like it wouldn't have been, awesome to have him, because it would have been. And anybody that says different is crazy. But it is what it is. We'll move on. We'll all, we'll be in the playoff. They'll be in the playoff. You know, since it's 12 teams now.
Right.
Like the 5 or 6 teams that are definitely going to be in it. But it is what it is.
Question: Did Downs play free safety or strong safety at Alabama? Do you guys know?
Free, wasn't he?
Free safety.
Not 100% on that.
I know that as you look at the depth chart, as you look at the depth in Georgia, you look at kind of just the pieces, right? The pieces of the puzzle. And we're not going to dig too much in this because we're going to kind of finish it off with this, but later on. But like, I got to think that maybe they were looking at Caleb Downs and going, obviously, you lose a Javon Bullard. I think at one point I even thought Bullard was coming back.
I did too.
So Bullard goes, and so I think then you look at a lot of talent. I think we didn't know at that time that Bolden was a fix. He was heavy into Auburn and Florida State, and you didn't really know. And so you didn't. And we signed Jake Pope out of the portal from Alabama. So I got a feeling that Kirby was, and even bringing in T-Rob. It's like, all right, like, do we go stab at Downs, right? But my thing is this. I think we were looking for that fit there, but I think we're going to be fine, because I think you're going to see between Janelle Aguero and like a Jake Pope, Dan Jackson, maybe flexes, KJ Bolden. How does he turn out? Do they move him from free to strong? Do they move Malachi to strong? I don't think you move Malachi, but when you look at that, I think that's what we were going for with it. But here's my thing. Because my TikTok viewers, this is where they went. My Ohio State hate fans were like, I have no idea why Georgia's acting like they don't throw around NIL money, because they're throwing it around too. To which I answered, number one on that list, and who just took the number one spot over was Carson Beck. Now Carson Beck's NIL deal is $1.1 million. He sat behind Stetson. Now remember this: Carson Beck is coming in to be a 5th-year senior behind Beck for 2 years. I'm sorry, behind Bennett for 2 years. Before that, he redshirted. I think the timeline might be a little bit off. Then comes in this year, has an outstanding year this year. I thought Beck had an incredible year this year. Does what Kirby likes, protects the football, and he's coming in this year, throw 2 great running backs to hand off to. Could possibly be one of the best offenses to go down in UGA history this year. So when you look at all those things, him and Brock Bowers' deal was $718,000. Both of those come in under $2 million, and those were 1 and 2. And then you look at Ohio State, and my argument is that we all know we know that Caleb Downs was paid anywhere from $1 million to $1.3 million. So that's in one player. But they took 5 to 7 players out of the portal and spent over $13 million in 48 hours. So right there, I mean, you gotta see Ryan Day at his is Ryan Day sitting at the poker table and going, all right, I'm going to draw, and when I get what I think I need, I'm going to go all in. I think he's building his hand, and he's going all in with this NIL stuff. Fish, you were going to say something. What's your take on that?
This is his last chance. He's got to.
Is it beat Michigan or else?
That's what I think. I feel like that. Yeah, of course.
Especially,
I don't think it matters if they're 13-1 or 12-1 or 11-1, whatever. I don't think it matters. They lose that one game, but it is a 12-team playoff now, so maybe he's got a little leeway as far as that goes. Lose to Michigan, still go win a natty, maybe.
That would be his only shot.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
It's you gotta beat Michigan, and if you don't beat Michigan, you better win the natty. Other than that, you're gone. Right? Like, here's the thing too. Like, there's a difference when they made that comment. Right? There's a difference between spending that money to go fishing, right, and keeping what you got in your boat already. Right. So we spend that money on Brock Bowers, who was already on our team, who'd already performed for us at a high level. Same thing for Carson Beck. Hey, you're rewarding those guys, right? You're not out there trying to land those guys. That's fishing, right? You're using your money to fish, and they happen to just be the line closest with the best bait, right?
Yeah.
But those things are not the same, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Kirby's not going to go. Kirby's not dropping $1.5 million. He's got Tavares Robinson signs his deal, and everybody freaks out. By the way, everybody freaked out. They're like, "You're paying T-Rob $1.3 million." Obviously, like Kirby knows what he's doing, man. And Robinson
must be good.
I think Robinson's going to be great. Now, I will tell you, it's funny that he's taking over from Muschamp, because if you guys remember, T-Rob was Muschamp's defensive coordinator at South Carolina, a.k.a., I think I brought this up last week, beat Georgia at Georgia, shut that offensive down. Wasn't one of our best offenses. I mean, but it was definitely, I think that was Kirby's first year that South Carolina came in. So Muschamp, Kirby, good friends. So Muschamp goes to that role. And he's kind of that protege for Coach Boom, right? For Muschamp.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings the same effect. Very active guy, loud, in your face. Dude, I like Dante Williams. I like Dante Williams and Tavares Robinson, man. This could be a freakish secondary, man, if they grow. And here's the thing, guys. We don't have time to grow because the schedule starts quick and it is thick. I didn't mean to rhyme that, by the way. I have no rap skills.
Good job.
But quick, and starts quick and it's thick, bro. So I don't – go ahead.
Let's talk about T-Rob, right? So right when this news broke, Terrence Edwards had made a post on Twitter, and I responded. I was like, "Hey, is this a move to get Downs?" Right? Downs wasn't even in the portal at this point, and before that, he's like, "No, I don't think it is. Right? I don't think it's a ploy to get Downs. Right? It's just big swing and a miss if that was your sole reason." Kirby's a little smarter than that, I believe.
I believe so.
This was, I'm taking your best recruit. You just lost your head coach. Your biggest help to you is going to be T-Rob on the recruiting. I'm really about to deal you a big blow there to make it very difficult for you to be able to recruit.
Yeah.
Right? And that, to me, that is what the move was. It was not, I agree with Terrence Edwards. It was not necessarily about getting Caleb Downs, but all the talking heads, everybody anti-Georgia wants to make, you spent all that money on him and you still didn't get Caleb Downs.
No, it was long game. It was long game. Because, Schumann's probably going to be gone next year, possibly, and, Muschamp stepping back to an advisory role. He needed somebody to eventually step in, and he's got a year to get here, learn everything, get back familiar with everybody, and then boom, he'll probably be the DC next year.
Yep.
It's a great hire.
Yeah, that's what you got to do, right? Like, you want a guy that's going to continue your defensive program going. You don't want to miss a beat.
Kirby.
So you bring him in a year to sit under that, just like you had Bobo sitting there with Monken.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
This is not
great. Someone brand new.
Monken is great.
Yeah, Monken, dude.
Still in the NFL too, right?
Dude, I'm a
best team.
I'm a Ravens fan right now, bro. I'm a Ravens fan.
Sir,
I want to see Monken
at middle linebacker. Me too, man.
Yeah.
Oof.
I want to see him win a NFL championship after winning a natty. Like, that'd be.
You're gonna beat Mahomes this Sunday.
Dude, I'm a Ravens fan. I don't want to go too far off this block, but I'm a Ravens fan.
No, yeah, my bad.
No, you're good. But that's an incredible take from Monken to be able to go national championship as an OC, national championship as an NFL OC, and then a lot of people want him as a head coach right now. So
I think show me the money.
That's a lot less of a headache in the NFL. He's an NFL dude.
Yeah.
If anything, man, set your retirement up, bro. If it goes downhill in 2 years, go be a broadcaster. Even though I heard Monken's not a real people guy.
He doesn't look like a people guy.
No, but
he doesn't seem like a people guy.
Set that money up so you can go chill out on a lake with dude, we made some good rhymes, man. Quick and thick, and you said Kirby's what'd you say, bro? Kirby's smart.
Kirby is smart.
Kirby is smart. Yeah, there you go. Oh man. All right, man. Caleb Downs, man, we would have loved to have Caleb Downs. We're not missing anything. That shoots you straight over into let's look at depth chart possibilities for spring. Man, I was excited. I don't know if some of you guys saw they labeled it as preparing in the dark, preparing in the quiet. Georgia last week very quietly started winter workouts, already hitting the weight room. Season has technically already started. So we've moved from 2023 to 2024. And so we're starting to look at, what does G-Day look at? And it's right around the corner. We're very close to, January is almost over. I feel like I just took my Christmas tree down. January is almost over. And so we're heading into G-Day. And so let's look at some possibilities, and we're going to go back and forth, but let's take a look since we were there defensively. Let's talk a little bit and see what you guys think about some of these areas. So you look at our secondary. Let's start right there because we're talking about with T-Rob. So what you have coming back, obviously, you're looking at free safety. You're looking at Malachi Starks. You're looking at Dan Jackson, who's just been, he was plagued with some injuries, and I think that held him back a little bit. But Dan Jackson might not have the step that KJ Bolden that could possibly come in and play early or Malachi has, but he is he's a head guy. Like, when I say a head guy, like, he makes right calls. He tackles at right angles. He does smart stuff. He's the guy back there that you just go, he's a safe bet. And I know this, I know we're covering receivers now that are just elusive and you need that extra speed. But if you want a solid guy back there, like Dan Jackson gets overlooked sometimes. And then obviously strong safety is the one where you flip the coin. Do we reroute somebody in this area? You got David Daniel Sesava, who's been in the system for a few years. Once again, though, he's like a Dan Jackson guy. He's not very flashy. He doesn't have that step. But we went and got Jake Pope in the portal. Jake Pope came out of Alabama. You got Ja'Cory Thomas, and then Justin Rhett. So those are names we don't know really, right? So definitely strong safety is a coin flip. Then you got Janelle Aguaro. Aguaro was a 5-star coming out of high school. Been in the system for a year. He played a lot at the Star last year. But he's coming up. Did they move that? Does KJ, does he grow up quick? KJ is enrolled. He's at Georgia. He is working out with the team right now. So that's a great plus to getting him on the field quick.
Sir.
But this, and then at cornerback, there's tons of depth here. Julian Humphrey was a great get to come back. I thought Julian Humphrey was one of the best cornerbacks we had last year. And obviously when he broke his collarbone, that didn't help anything, but he was just peaking at the right time in that rotation. He was backing up Kamari. So I think he kind of takes over that, Kamari's area where I think that shutdown corner spot. Yeah. And then you got Dalen Everett over there, which we talked about Dalen Everett last week. I think he could another year in the system will do Everett well. But then you mix in my man, Mr. Ellis Robinson. 5-star recruit out of IMG Academy. Long, lengthy, kind of reminds me of Humphrey. Very long, lengthy. I think he's 6'2". I think he's like 6'1", 6'2", or something like that over
Good
there.
size for a CB.
Yeah, freak of an athlete. So I'm gonna let you guys go in this. I love the outlook of our secondary. The only concern I have is we don't have the football games at the beginning of the year to get them acclimated. They're gonna get acclimated very quick because I know Clemson is not the Clemson of old, but we see Clemson first game of the year. But I'll start with you, Bobby. Like, what do you think about our secondary? What do you like? What do you dislike? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I really like what we've got. I think you could potentially so Everett's got to make a big step up on the corner, right? I think give me Humphreys as a lock on one of the corners,
right?
And then I think you're going to see a battle between Everett and Robinson, because Robinson certainly has the ability. He's a smart kid. He has the ability to step in and play right away. I think if you wind up seeing that happen, I don't know that. I think because of the talent that you have after spring, and those depth charts are kind of starting to come about, I don't want people to freak out when some good players wind up in the portal, right? Because it can happen, right? Because you've got some good guys, some studs. I mean, number one recruiting class guys. Some of these guys are 99 composite, right? 98, 99, right? Those are the types of guys that come in and make an instant impact to your program, which is going to push some people out. And you've only got so many scholarships. You've only got so much room, right? And is a kid who started last year or played significantly last year going to get his feelings hurt when a new guy steps in and takes his spot, right? It's the writing on the wall. And, hey, like, this guy is already ready. And so you're going to see a lot of that. But I don't think we have anything to worry about and we talked about Caleb Downs earlier, and I looked it up. He was a strong safety, not a free safety. But you've got Dan Jackson is dude's a ball hawk. Like, he finds his way to the ball. Strong guy, came in, worked his tail off. I think because of his work ethic, he's really high on Kirby's super high on him. But I believe the one that probably is going to develop, I think ultimately that position, because of the youth, and I think because of who they are and who they were in high school, if they make that transition well. You got one guy that's already been in the program a year how do you say, Aguero? How do you say
Aguero, Aguero.
Like, that dude right there, stud.
Yeah.
Stud. And he's got a year under him, right? Would not surprise me to see it really come down to him and KJ Bolden at that position. Malachi's got one of them locked in for sure. No way you're getting
nope.
But so that's kind of my thought on that room. It's a good problem to have. I think not only will you have a really solid guy in there, you go 3 deep usually in each of those positions. One of them will probably leave, so you're still going to have a 1 and 2 in those spots that are phenomenal. So you're in a good spot. You're in a really good spot.
Fish, what you got?
Yeah, man, I think, after definitely by G-Day, we'll know, and they'll know exactly, where they're going to fall in the depth chart. So, we're going to have some guys leaving, but that just speaks to our recruiting, we get guys come in, you play for a shot, if you don't get your shot, you move on, and that's just how it is. And that's why I don't think, we should panic, freak out, or, anything just because we have a lot of guys leaving. That doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. It just means that they're not going to play, just like Pop's going to Kentucky. The only reason I can think of is because he knew CJ Allen was probably coming up, and they were going to rotate a lot. He wasn't going to see the field as much. Not that he wasn't going to play, because that would be ridiculous. He's going to play because he's great. But maybe CJ Allen is that much better, and he's younger. He might be a little faster,
Right.
There's no telling. But I think that we're good, and I think that probably our secondary is going to be our strength on the defensive side this year, and that's crazy because we're LBU, right?
Yeah.
You know, and not that our linebackers are going to be terrible, but I'm just saying, like, our secondary is going to be great.
Yeah, I can't stop looking. So there's two things while you guys were talking I was looking at. First off, Ellis Robinson, man. I'm calling stud on this guy, man. He's not only the number one composite cornerback coming out of high school right now. He's the number 2 overall player coming out of high school right now. I've heard he made these freak like Calvin Johnson style, AJ Green style, catches, these interceptions, against on these 7-on-7s, man. And it's like, when you look at this, it's like you got to see that, Georgia needed this. They haven't seen this in a while as far as a corner. Kamari Lassiter developed. He was not a guy that came out as like Kamari Lassiter is going to be a shutdown. You look back, the last 5-star was Campbell that signed with, I forget Campbell's first name, but then again, he came in very raw. He was just fast, but like he had to develop his hands. Tyson Campbell, yeah, he had to develop his hands. He had to develop his technique was terrible. You guys watched him his first year. I mean, it was like, is this guy really a 5-star? But Ellis Robinson is he's 6'2", by the way, 185 pounds. So you look at here's two things you see with Humphrey and Robinson. You got size and you got freaks at cornerback, man. And then you look at
corner.
Yeah, dude. Like, man, it's just like I don't want to stay too long in the secondary, but I love the secondary. But here's another one. The things we didn't remember, and that I forgot about. I mean, we recruited DeMello Jones at cornerback. He's no schlep. He's no schlep, bro. He's 96 composite rating, was a 4-star out of Swainsboro, Georgia. And then we also recruited Andre Evans, which was a steal from LSU, by the way. Another 4-star cornerback, 94 composite rating. So, by the way, we signed 3 cornerbacks this year that were 3 cornerbacks and a safeties that were top 7 in the top 17 of all recruits coming out of on defense coming out of high school this year. So I think we knew that. I think we saw this coming in the secondary. We saw, Lassiter, Bullard, you name it, it happening, and we prepared very well. But moving along, like when you look at like depth in the linebacker room, I think this is. I was bragged about secondary. We'll kind of put these together, but our linebacker room is insane, man. It's insane. Yeah. So at the you got Smile coming back at the as they call it, the MAC linebacker. Raylan Wilson, who I thought turned it on really well in bowl season. Troy Bowles is coming along. And then money, you got CJ Allen. I love Jalon Walker, man. I have nothing against CJ Allen. I think CJ Allen's a stud, but Jalon Walker, man, is a freak. And he has
they're going to be rotating.
Yeah. He has not yet shown, like, he has that Javon Curse type look to me. Long arms, just a freak athlete, man, who has not lived up to his capabilities yet, in my opinion. And then, you look at who we have coming in. We talked about Justin Williams. Hello, number 1 cornerback recruit coming in, number 1 safety coming in, and then you get the number 1 linebacker in the country coming in. Justin Williams is a Nakobe Dean type talent. Fast, elusive, will headhunt for you, is always disrupting stuff. I think Justin Williams is going to see the field very quickly. We got a couple seconds. You guys got anything about Justin Williams? Talk to me about the linebacker room, Bobby. What do you like about him? What do you dislike about him?
Stacked. Yeah. The only thing I don't like about it is I'm afraid we lose one of them in the portal, right? But
probably, yeah.
Dude, stacked.
That's the worst part about it. It's the portal.
Yeah, and then Chris Cole just picks up his 5th star. If I'm not mistaken, Kirby got 3 of the top 10 linebackers.
Yeah, so Chris Cole is in that box. You got Justin
Williams, and then Justin one guy that's a little higher than Cole was.
I'm looking right now. I should have it. Where's it at? Chris Cole. Here we go. Justin Williams. That was it. I know we signed. I know we got Quintavious. We got the edge. edge 4-star Quintavious. I don't know Quintavious' last name, but
Christopher Jones.
Chris Jones. Okay, how am I missing him?
Yeah, he's pretty top. He I don't know if he got his 5th star, if he's still a 4-star guy. But looks like he's still 4. But his position rank was 10.
Okay, I see him now. Yes, you're right.
So you got 1, 3, and 10. You've got Justin Williams at 1, Chris Cole at 3, and Christopher Jones is at 10, and that's Dogs 247. So
yep, I see Chris Cole now. I do.
Strong
big kid, man, 6'3", 2. Dude, he's dude. That's nuts, man. This is nuts. Nuts, man. It's nuts.
And everybody wonders why people roll out of here like they do. Goodness. But that's why. Because you got guys like that coming in. Like, it's a conveyor belt.
Right. I agree. And obviously moving into, so the most important part that we need to grow this year is that defensive line play. I have no doubt we will. But, when you look at the key pieces, it's not necessarily Brinson and Stackhouse were the key pieces, but guys, it's not key unless we really go in and address the needs. I feel like we were injured. Brinson added great depth to our line. I felt like we were a different defensive line against Florida State, and I don't care about how many players didn't play for Florida State. The look of the defensive line with Brinson in there, we were getting pressure. We were pushing the line. And it was different than the Alabama game where we really were pushed around on the line. And is it the same talent? No. But I will say that
Alabama's offensive line was redonkulous.
They were, and they improved a lot.
The O-line that we played against at Florida State, but still, it's not like these are slouches. It's not like these are little bitty guys out there. These are still college athletes.
So you look at the back-to-back natties, right? You got a huge difference maker right in the middle of that defensive line, right? You have Jordan Davis, you had Jalen Carter, right?
Devontae Wyatt, man.
Right. You were really we did not have that this year. Were they decent? No. Yes, but we did not have that this past year. When you start looking at some of these guys that are coming up that have been growing for a couple years, there's guys potential to be super studs coming through this year.
Yes, sir.
I think we're going to be back to where we were with the defensive line. I think we're going to get back to where we've been.
I agree, man. Tyrion Ingram's Dawkins, very quiet last year, injury prone last year. Nazir back, Christian Miller, who took on some key time last year, Warren Brinson. Then you got big baby Jordan Hall, who, he's a freshman last year, but he hogged some good minutes, went in the portal and got a really, I think, a vet on that defensive line. Xavier McLeod, if he can come in out of South Carolina, if he can come in and he can mesh with the culture, I think he's very promising. And then you got some big dudes like Jordan Thomas, who we recruited to be like a Jordan. I mean, guys, that footprint of Jordan Davis has been on our mind ever since Trey Scott, ever since he coached Jordan Davis. And so you look at the Joseph Jonah Ajanye's big kid. I think he's out of Sandy Creek. And then you got promise in there with Jamal Jarrett. Now, Jamal Jarrett is the one that of the names that if you go and look back, he was very quiet this year, but a guy that is really a big kid, strong kid, and he probably got hidden. We even though we were not as good as previous years on the defensive line, we still had a lot of talent, that had been on that line, right? We had some vets per se that people couldn't crack that lineup. But I like what we added as well. I mean, you look at, we stole Nazir Johnson from Florida. That kid runs like a 4.5, 4.6 40 out of Dublin, and he's 6'4", 300 pounds. Like, dude, if you get that much,
like getting hit by a truck.
Yeah, dude, you get that much weight going. He's enrolled. He's in there now. I like Ajonye. And then there was one more. So Jordan Thomas is already there. Jordan Thomas. You guys heard about Jordan Thomas? He comes in at a sneaky 322 pounds. This is sneaky 322 pounds.
Sneaky 322.
Out of a high school team that plays quality talent. I mean, Don Bosco Prep plays quality talent, man. So you don't have no just high school team you hadn't heard about coming in and it goes, oh, we found this guy 322 pounds. I mean, he is at his position ranking. He's 14th in his position ranking. A lot of upside. We obviously knew there too. There's Chris Jones. How did I miss him? Out of Fairfax, Virginia. But this is where obviously we got to see the most improvement. But overall, defensive wise, I really think that when you look at our defense, I think to lose as much as we did. I mean, the Nyland Greens left, the Pops, who else? You name it. Marvin Jones Jr. All these players that you got Bullard that went to the league, Lassler that went to the league. You look at the depletion here and there. Zion Logue leaves on defense, and we had some players that were coming up that chose to leave. To be left with what I don't say left with, but the core of the nucleus that we have, and you're adding T-Rob and you're adding Dante Williams, and you got Schumann, who's been on fire, in my opinion, and is getting more trust from Kirby so that Kirby can be a little bit less hands-off and more. I mean, look at you got Kirby's a defensive mind, but take him out and look at the defensive minds that are on our defensive staff now. It's mind-blowing, man. But we could hang out there forever. Let's shift the offense really quick before we close out the night. Offense is really straightforward. This has the possibility of being one of the best, most prolific offenses. And yes, I'm saying that after Stetson. I'm saying that after the running backs that have come through. I'm saying that after, every single bit of recruiting that we've had on the offensive side of the ball. The thing that rings out to me, we've had great offensive lines. The thing that when you get Bowers, you're losing Bowers. The thing that rings out to me is this year, the thing that's been the weakness for Georgia in the past 10 years is now the strength. It's the wide receiver room. Yeah. Well, I'll say 10 because, you look 10 years before that and there was weaknesses everywhere you looked at. We were just, I don't know about you guys, we talked about it, but when you saw a 5-star recruit just get landed, everybody just threw a party in the state of Georgia. But obviously you look at quarterback. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, name a wide receiver other than AJ Green that went to the NFL and was successful.
Right.
You got to go back to Hines Ward.
Yeah, back in the 90s.
Yeah, it's a long gap. It's a big gap. That's been a weakness, right? Like, and it's been because we really haven't had a prolific quarterback, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But now you've got Beck is a gunslinger. I mean, dude's a solid NFL.
Some of the throws he made last year, just whipping it. I mean, it's not just accurate. I mean, he's throwing it 100 miles an hour. I mean, not really, but he's got a straight cannon on his arm.
Is Carson Beck?
Offense has changed.
Is Carson Beck the number one quarterback coming out next year? Regardless of, if you look at talent alone, is Carson Beck the best quarterback in the draft next year? I think he is, dude. Before he ever takes the field, and we can look. I mean, I see the quarterbacks that have shifted around. All these guys are one-hit wonders, by the way. You look at Ohio State. You look at all these players that moved around. Besides I'm trying to think of names like Cam Rising, who's on his 8th year at Utah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the guy, man. I don't know the name. I don't have the name. I mean, yeah, Milroe, but is he an NFL quarterback? I don't know. I don't think so. Especially now that you're wondering how does this work with DeBow, and we can go all day on that. But I think Carson Beck is the best quarterback in the nation coming into 2024. Carson Beck, you got Gunnar Stockton. I love Puglisi. I think Puglisi is a Georgia guy. I think he's a Jake Fromm, Aaron Murray type recruit that's like, I love Georgia. I want to be at Georgia. And that right there is where
those
Kirby
are my favorite
thrives.
kind of players.
Yes, that's where Kirby thrives, man, is give me people who want to be here and we will make them great. And then I love this running back room. We're just going to throw out names. I don't even know if you can ever. I think there's one. I don't even know. There's not a guarantee anywhere in this running back room, but I do know we got names, man. We got Trevor Etienne from coming in from Florida. We're going to stop using that terminology. Trevor Etienne is a dog now. So we got man. Welcome to Athens.
Yes, sir.
Rod Robinson, he's on campus, by the way. I've been lifted.
Nice.
Rod Robinson, Andrew Paul has. We got Chauncey Bowens, we got Cash Jones, and I'm gonna throw this out here for you guys. What does Branson Robinson add to this running back room? Because he was supposed to add so much this year, but I'll start with you, Bobby. Like, what do you like about Branson Robinson? If he comes back healthy, what can he do?
He's built like a Peterbilt. I mean, this dude is a diesel truck coming through there. The dude, I mean, if you've seen his, any videos of him or pictures of him, he is massive. I look at him and I think like baby Chubb, right?
Oh my God! You remember the pictures of Chubb like standing there, like about to run track, just with his and just, oh my God, his legs are so big.
He's massive, so it's really with him, man. If he can be healthy, and even Rod Robinson, and I mean, man. One thing is you can't have a shortage of running backs. We learned that this year, right? We were kind of depleted, right? But man, there's some studs in that room, right? Like it's. I think you see Etienne and probably Branson Robinson, and then you've got a guy coming out of the backfield, third down, that can catch the pass. It's the kid that was in the All-American game this year, Nate Frazier. Got hands out of the backfield. You've got the weapons you need.
This Nate Frazier kid, man, is 5'10", 206, man. His position rank is second, and by the way, he's the number 6 best overall high school recruit coming out of California. Not out of California. I mean, we got number 1, we got number 1, 2, 4, and 6 on the roster right here at Georgia. You got KJ Bolden. I'm sorry, you don't have 1. I think 1 is the kid who's not signed yet. He's
the Williams kid.
Yeah, he's not signed yet. So I'm sorry. You got 2, 4, 5, and 6. So you got KJ, you got Nate Frazier, you have my boy Justin Williams, and then who am I missing? Who am I missing?
I don't know.
Who am I missing, man? Come on.
Oh, Ellis Robinson.
Thank you. So those 4 guys, man. But yeah, good job. Thank you. But the running back room, man. I mean, we're saying as much about and we're not being partial because it is Georgia, dude. The running back room is as exciting as the linebacker room. Like if I am Bobo and I look at 7, I mean, there was running backs, and don't get me wrong, like I love Milton. Edwards was incredible, but when you look at raw talent and like healthy legs, Edwards showed that he was a little injury prone last year. Obviously, Milton, we saw him get healthy at the end of the year, but that's 2 guys who fronted the load a lot. Rod Robinson had to front the load a lot. We were down to Dillon Bell running the football at some point in time, but now you look at this and you're just like bang, 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 bang. The 7th guy can be in there, and he's the 7th guy right now could start for anybody in the country, right?
Yeah.
It's just extremely exciting. The wide receiver room is extremely exciting. Let's just jump there real quick. Geez, man, this is where we just talked about. This is exactly what we just talked about. So you're looking at on the outside, you're looking at Ra, who's been quietly out there. Ra was coming along and hit some injuries towards the end of the year. We added Colby Young at the X, just nothing but a 6'6" body from Miami 215.
Right.
That's nothing. That's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you just go out there and say, guys, we got Calvin Johnson's little cousin, Colby Young. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it's like, geez. And he's not like a freshman. He's not like a sophomore. He's catching passes.
No, I know. He's seasoned. Yeah. Oh, he'll have experience coming in, which is going to be huge for us, which is huge for him.
Yeah.
Promising. So last year,
go ahead, Bobby.
So last year, like the thought as an offense was, you scheme, you got to get the balls in the hand of Brock Bowers. He's a game changer. Like I think you have that again this year, and I think that guy is Dylan Bell.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Dylan Bell. I love exactly what you said because it sets up what we need to talk about. I don't think you can come to Athens or when we come to you on the road and go, we have a game plan around Brock Bowers. Now it's like we have a game plan around Colby Young and Rot Thomas. Fine, we'll throw to Dom Levitt. We'll hand it off to Branson or ETN. You
Yeah.
can't gain.
Who are they going
You
to
can't
scheme for? We're much more diverse this year than we were last year.
Right. So you scheme for Bell, you get Leverett. You scheme for Lovett. You scheme for Lovett, then you get Bell. You get London Humphreys. Hello. London Humphreys is a guy that everybody talked about who gained his 4-star. And then you got some people back here who are just waiting to be great. We talked about it before we came on. I love Arian Smith, man, but he just got to catch the ball, man. Like he's got blazing speed, but it's kind of like when you're a track star and you're on the 4x100 and the stick's coming your way and you take off and you hit the finish line and you turn back and you realize that the stick is on the ground. It's like we don't have the ball, bro. We don't have the ball.
Yeah.
So he needs to watch Little Giants, channel his inner hot hands, just look up and see the toilet paper, man. Just see the toilet paper coming. It's not a football, it's a roll of toilet paper. Just
channel the inner hot hands. Oh my god!
If he figures that out though, dude, he could absolutely be AD Mitchell,
Jalen Waddle, just that type of guy, that type of top end speed. Devontae Smith is just running by folks. Like that COVID year, Mac Jones to Devontae Smith, man, that was crazy.
Yeah,
he would just throw it up and he would just run by everybody and go catch it. I mean, that's what Arian would do. He could definitely do that. He could be that guy.
I totally agree. I and people ask, they're like, with Arian Smith, if he's got all this speed, why isn't he returning punts or kicks? Well, I guess we figured that out. I mean, dude,
if he can't catch a punt. You can't catch a pass.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Kirby ain't. In order to return, Kirby does not have people back there that are Deion Sanders type material. No, he has people back there that will do one thing and one thing only: catch the ball. Fair catch the ball. Don't put us in a spot.
If you can't catch the ball.
Exactly. So I think that's why you see some of the players that we've had back there. And then really quick, offensive line is just rock solid, coming in as usual. As long as we stay healthy, I love Ernest Green coming back. Redshirt sophomore. That kid's a sophomore. That's crazy. Xavier Truss is going to come back and anchor with Tate Rutledge. Both seniors. There'll be a lot of leadership on the offensive line.
A lot of leader all over the place.
Yeah, man. You're going to rotate Micah Morris in there, who I thought did really well. And you got Drew Bobo, man, who's going to crack the depth chart possibly. So good to see this. The big spot that's going to be on Spotlight, what you would say is Jared Wilson at center. I think that's a key position because you've had Van Pran there for so long. He's been a centerpiece of that line. But coaches say they love Jared Wilson. They like his work ethic. He works extremely hard. He's a junior, so he's been loyal. Yeah. He's stayed here. He hasn't left. So a lot of this DNA continuing to go throughout the entire team. And then you get, Monroe Freeling had so much top end coming in as far as just development. I like what Monroe Freeling looked like throughout the year. And obviously, Peyton Wood, dude, I love some Peyton, man. Peyton Woodyard, man. He won the kicking competition and he never turned backwards. He had a hint.
He started off shaky.
He did, but who wouldn't, bro?
No, he got it together by the end of the year.
Imagine, you see College Game Day, man, and those guys are kicking in front of College Game Day, but you multiply that times, you multiply that times 10, man, and then now I got to put it between the uprights, and I don't get nothing but a pat on the back every time I hit it. So the kicker's hard, man, but all in all, man, this could change a lot. Obviously, we're going to see all of these incoming freshmen and how they look, and by the time G Day happens, there's so many. It's almost like, I hate to say it, like these players that didn't come through an early signing and enroll early are so far behind because these guys have had bowl practice. Yeah, they're so far behind. They have bowl practice. They've had, off-season weight training. They've had G Day. They've had weight training after that. You're coming in and you're logging in and basically, you got the playbook right now, but that's about it. And so it's going to be hard, but I mean, we signed the number 1 class this year, and so I'm looking forward to it, man. Really quick before we go, obviously we've been. We're going to throw a couple hot topics out there. We're obviously, going on TikTok to get a little bit more avenue. Well, I thought it was fun. In the past few days, I've been posting some videos, some about Harbaugh, some about portal, things of that nature. But let me tell you, man, some of the hottest topics out there. There are still some butthurt Ohio State fans out there about if we would have hit the field goal, if
it was a dirty
Harrison,
hit. It was a dirty
right,
hit.
if Harrison Jr. doesn't get hit in the thing. But here's my take, man. And I said this earlier. If Ryan Day was smart, he would go and grab these guys out of the portal, because hopefully, if you can go get the Michigan guys, then hopefully the Michigan guys that beat you can now go and beat Michigan. I don't know, but
Beat Michigan for you. Can't beat them.
Yeah, man. What you guys want to add about that? I mean, obviously we got a lot of fan bases, and I mean well, but at the end of the day, man, a lot of the conversation is about that. It's about, what has Georgia done? What is this? I told him straight up. I said the truth is Ohio's, and it's like I said, we're talking about relevancy, right? I guess what the question I want to pose is when you look at Georgia and you look at what Georgia has done and what in the last, I would say, 5 years tops, right? Is this something that's going on at Georgia with Kirby? Is this now is Georgia the new poster child for what it looks like to have that? I'm not going to use Nick Saban. That DNA.
Be careful.
Yeah. Is Georgia the poster child now? Is it the mark for what it looks like for a healthy program that year after year now, regardless of portal, regardless of turnover, regardless of anything, is the prime program to be able to be successful year in and year out and not have drop-offs? Bobby, what do you think?
Yeah. I don't know that you're going to see another dynasty per se, right? Just with the portal and NIL and stuff like that, it makes it a little more difficult to be able to keep one team built and one program fluid flowing. What helps is knowing these things were coming and being able to project what you need to do in the future to stay relevant. Right. And right. I think that the Georgia staff has done that as well as anybody. There are other groups that are doing well at it too, right? But you do notice the programs that have fallen off during this era. I mean, it was Florida, right?
Right.
So I think that they have put together a model. It's all about process and right. Just get in there in those moments where it doesn't quite click to say, okay, what's wrong with the process? What do we got to change? And I think making those adjustments, I think Georgia has done a great job at that. There are some other programs out there that are still doing a good job, like Ohio State. They're not going anywhere, right? Texas, I think you're going to start to see come on. I think they're figuring it out. They're going to come into the SEC and make some noise, I believe. So you've got a lot of them, but I would not trade places with anyone right now as far as where Georgia is. I'm happy with it, and it's exciting. And I think we are going to continue to see a ton of success. I haven't lost a regular season game in 3 years.
Yeah. Big time. Fish, what do you think, man? Georgia can keep this momentum. You think they're built for years to come?
Well, I want to be careful because ESPN will fire you if you say something to, like, remember Pollock called it out. He said it first, looked right at Nick Saban's eyes and said, Georgia's the new standard. And then he lost his job.
We won't fire you at Dogs Down South, Fish, so you can say it, man. We don't pay good enough here, bro.
I mean, definitely, man. I mean, it's sustainable, assuming Kirby stays and is happy with the grind, because let's face it, it's a grind. We discussed that earlier, talking about college, and you have to be built for it. I mean, and that's why you've got like Clemson falling off, Florida falling off. Dan Mullen just screwed Florida. I mean, he buried Florida. He was the worst thing to happen to Florida since I don't know what, since Lindsey Scott, like I mean, it's bad. It's bad. I mean, if you can't keep up, I mean, that's why. I mean, you've got to have a guy. You've got to have somebody who's built for that grind. And if they're not, then you're not going to be successful. Especially sustained success is going to be impossible.
Yeah, it's funny. Guys go and wreck programs, and then they go on TV. And they talk about other people's programs.
Yeah, they do.
How's that work, bro? Like, maybe I don't know, bro. Maybe like. So basically, the terms are: if you go fail at coaching, come be a commentator and talk about what coach is doing wrong and right. I don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be a fired college coach, though, bro. They make bank,
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it's a grind, and you got to move it. But like, dude, they get the money to hire great assistants. I mean, dude, our assistant coaches, and I'm not just saying it because it's Georgia. We have some of the best assistant coaches in the country, man. I mean. Everybody was Bobo this. I'm so sick of that. I mean, yes, when Bobo got hired, this is what the difference was with me with Bobo was Bobo had a year with Monken. And I'm not saying what Bobo was doing pre-Georgia years when he was OC and what I mean, I was the guy on Facebook going, what are we doing? Why are we running up the middle? Why are we doing this? But my thing is this, it's like I figured out and you look at it and you go, I think you have to evolve as a play caller. You have to look at what is going on with defenses, just like defenses and just like offenses are getting more complex. The spread offense was something that was unheard of 10 years ago. And now it's like, bro, this is the norm, right? The option offense is obsolete now, right? There's more teams that you go, what, they're still running the option. Now it's like this hybrid. They don't even have a name for some of these offensive playbooks because there's so many styles of defenses and so many shutdown ways to put people on islands and to play more towards what Monken was successful at, right? Putting athletes in positions to get the ball. That's it. It wasn't about X's and O's. It was, how do I get the playmakers the ball? And then I think when Bobo takes his mind off of, okay, it's not about routes. It's not about do we run or do we pass here? It's who do we want to get the ball on 1st and 10? Who do we want to get the ball on 3rd and 19? Take it, for example, this year. I was sitting at the Auburn game. I guarantee you when we came out after being down to Auburn at Auburn, the one thing that was said in the locker room was not, what is my first 10 plays? It was, get Brock Bowers the ball. How do I get Brock Bowers the ball? We did it, and it was a game changer. So I think that's what the difference has been with Bobo. I think he's learned. He looked at the method, and we talked about. Monken he only went from Georgia to Baltimore, and he really just transcended that offense, and it's going to probably help them win. I don't want to give him a curse. He's going to help them do well this year.
Lamar's getting his second MVP.
Exactly. I think he's going to be a head coach soon. So kudos. But I know we're running out of time. But before we get off, I do want to say this. Throw a little memory out there. I'll give it to you guys first, but. Rest in peace. My man Q, UGA, represented very well, passed away peacefully in his sleep this week. And man, I'm an animal lover. I don't know if you guys have animals, but I looked at my dog the other night and I was like, man, I can only imagine there's fans in the world that are just like, what's going on? But any fond memories of Q that you want to throw out? And obviously we relate it to the college football season, but we're going to end on this tonight. I'll give it to you, Fish, first. Any fond memories of Q that you might remember want to bring up?
2022, 2023. Back-to-back national championships.
Yeah.
Winningest mascot in Georgia history. Winningest UGA in Georgia history. Yeah. I mean, did anybody see the classy post that Barstool Texas posted on Twitter?
I did not.
Yeah, they had to on the day Q passed. They tweeted the scuffle that him and what's the name of their Longhorn? Dumbo Bevo. Yeah. So that was classy. That was real classy. Yeah. For them to do that. That's great. That's just me. That's I didn't hate Texas before, but now I might a little bit. And I know hate's a strong word, but that was stupid. That was terrible. Yeah. They took it down. They said, but they're not issuing an apology or anything like that. Yeah, if you've got X, I'm sorry, not Twitter, you should go check it out.
Oh man, good stuff, man. Bobby, any fond memories of my man Q?
Man, and just a staple at the games, right? You go there and you always want to look over at the doghouse that's on the field and catch a glimpse of him going in or out or just chilling. It's just the staple, right? And I know we've got another dog, but
Boom.
Q was certainly there during Kirby kind of coming to prominence, and so that's always going to be special. So,
he'll always be that ugly.
Sonny Seiler, they do such a great job with those dogs, and PETA, if you're watching,
oh my God,
PETA better than we do. So back
all
off.
the PETA posts that have been attached to the Q passing posts. That's so stupid too. God, that drives me nuts.
Bro, I don't know about
Leave
you.
Leave it alone. That is one of the most pampered, spoiled dogs in the world.
Right.
Dude, I mean, no offense, man. Like, I don't know about you. When it's hot outside, I don't go get a bag of ice from my aunt. I mean, I might think of doing it. I might, but like that man is sitting. He's got a air conditioner on top, a window unit on top of the doghouse. He's sitting on some ice. They can close the door, open it. I don't know about you guys, but when you go to the game, when I get blessed to be able to get some tickets and go to the game, if it's hot, bro, I'm hot. If it's cold, I'm cold. Guess what? That dog down there, man, that ain't just any dog, it's Uga. But that dog down there has it better than me, bro.
He does. And he will always have it better than us.
For sure.
Always.
Yeah. And I'm probably getting some chicken nuggets on the way home, and that joker's going to stay.
You know
it.
Jeez, man. Well, guys, it's been fun. Man, this was so cool. The future is bright. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh heading to LA. Best of luck to Jim Harbaugh. Be interested to see what happens in this 30-day portal window for them. Did a little previewing of offense and defense, and it gets me excited, man. I'm ready for G-Day already. So we'll see what happens.
I'm ready for Media Day.
Yeah, Media Day too, man. Seeing all these new coaches come in, talking about what's going on. But as always, Bobby, thank you, man. Fish, thank you. Check us out, guys. We are on TikTok. We are on everything you can think about. We are on Apple Podcasts. Episode 2 will be going up very soon. So if you missed this live, you get it on Apple Podcasts. You get it on Spotify. Anything that pretty much we provide a podcast, you get it. So thank you for joining. Thank you for supporting Dogs Down South. Gentlemen, it was great. So I'll end the night with this. Rest in peace to Q, and go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.